Biden admin imposes new sanctions on Iran for anniversary of Mahsa Amini's death. The Biden administration on Friday imposed sanctions on more than 24 Iranian individuals and entities tied to the violent suppression of protests following the death of Mahsa Amini 1 year ago. The new sanctions are the latest tranche in response to Tehran's brutal crackdown on the protesters who took to the streets in the wake of Amini's death in the custody of Iran's so-called morality police. The 22-year-old was allegedly arrested by the morality police, on whom the U.S. imposed sanctions last year, for improperly wearing her hijab. According to a news release from the U.S. Treasury Department, Friday's sanctions target 18 key members of the regime's security forces, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, and the law enforcement forces, LAF, the head of Iran's prisons organization, 3 individuals and 1 company in connection with the regime's systematic censorship and blocking of access to the internet, and 3 IRGC and regime-controlled media outlets, Fars News, Tasnim News and Press TV, and 3 senior officials. The U.S. sanctions were imposed in coordination with partners including the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia, the Treasury Department said. In a separate statement, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced that the U.S. State Department is moving to impose visa restrictions on 13 Iranian officials and other individuals for their involvement in the detention or killing of peaceful protesters or the inhibition of their rights to freedom of expression or assembly. Since Mahsa Amini's death and the protests that followed, we have pursued visa restrictions on 40 Iranian officials and other individuals for their involvement in these acts targeting peaceful protesters, the top U.S. diplomat said. President Joe Biden said in a statement Friday that he and First Lady Jill join people around the world in remembering her and every brave Iranian citizen who has been killed, wounded, or imprisoned by the Iranian regime for peacefully demanding democracy and their basic human dignity. As we have seen over the last year, Mahsa's story did not end with her brutal death. She inspired a historic movement of woman, life, freedom that has impacted Iran and influenced people across the globe who are tirelessly advocating for gender equality and respect for their human rights, Biden said.